Greetings. It's trucking day. Today's focus is on the fact that Toyota has welcomed the folks at Tesla Semi to the electric truck world. I wanted to note to you that the B-roll that we're running today is coming compliments of apologize for the hold up there. The B-roll that we're running today is actually video of Toyota's truck. Toyota explains in their video that what they did was they have something called the Mirai that they've been having in development for the last 20 years. And they ramped that technology up to be able to handle trucks. So we like to do at least one truck show a month. And after having an encounter with someone that knows the folks at Nikola intimately, we decided it was a really good time to go ahead and take a look at what's going on in trucks and note the fact that the folks at the folks at Toyota are welcoming Tesla into the trucking world. And they're sort of implying that the hydrogen trucks that convert into an electricity sort of drive for the trucks are kind of similar to a battery-based. This is Greg for Teslafaninsight. Thanks again for joining us. If this is your first time on our channel, welcome. If you're a repeat visitor, welcome back. Behind me, obviously, you can see the Mirai and another of the hydrogen vehicles that Toyota has developed. And now you see the truck that's sort of the evolution of the process. So basically, Toyota has been involved in the process of building out hydrogen trucks for about 20 years. Tesla invited them aboard to join the electric party, and they elected not to. So what we end up with is a situation now where Toyota is a little bit behind the curve because they did go heavy duty to the hydrogen world, and now they already have been partners with Panasonic for the last 20 or 30 years and have them involved in the battery development for their hybrid EVs, but they're now going to expand that Toyota relationship or Panasonic relationship that they had a long time to also be producing batteries as well. So we wanted to run this. Every time I think of a hydrogen truck, I keep thinking about the hydrogen fuel cell, which is a reference that Elon Musk makes to the fact that Tesla looked at going the hydrogen route, but all the costs related to doing so seemed foolhardy, hence they did not do it. So if you'll pardon me here, we have this B-roll footage running at kind of 25% speed, but if I start it up now as we get into the show, you'll be able to catch that video of the trucks while we're having our discussion. So as we've noted, Elon Musk, in fact, did make a point of calling it the hydrogen fuel cell. And the reason is because of the costs of hooking up to the electric grid allows you to power up electric trucks easily across the country, whereas in the case of hydrogen cells, you have all these other challenges relative to both developing the fuel and delivering it. So our sort of first part of the discussion then is, in the case of the Toyota truck that we're looking at over my shoulder, there are a few pointers to note. Number one, Toyota's been developing hydrogen vehicles for the last 20 years. They have several Mirai hydrogen cell facilities throughout Southern California, and I guess into Northern California they have a few of them. Number three, the vehicles have not done well. Number four, what's actually happened is that Toyota has now partnered with several companies, Shell to provide the fuel for the vehicles, and UPS as one of the first places to use several of their trucks in a test period. And then finally, most of the video you're seeing right now is the Port of Los Angeles. The goal of the Port of Los Angeles is to completely get rid of diesel trucks over the next 10 or 15 years. And they have a number of partnerships with Mercedes on their electric truck, Tesla in the near future, as well as Toyota, and anybody else that wants to have large dollars from the port to actually help support the transition to electric. In the case of the Mercedes trucks, I believe there's a $40 million check written by the Port of Los Angeles to test the Class 8 and Class 7 size trucks under the Freightliner brand with a relationship through Ryder Trucks. So we wanted to kind of take a quick peek at this because the folks at Toyota are welcoming Tesla into the space. But the most important development that is sort of not out there is that we actually had an encounter with a semi-retired executive businessman, politician from the Phoenix area. And I specifically asked him what his thought was of the CEO of Nikola, as well as what Nikola was doing when it comes to trucks. For those of you who don't know, there is a company called Nikola, as in Nikola Tesla. Nikola named itself and in essence decided to come after Tesla in the electric truck space. They initially introduced the idea they were going to do a hybrid truck that worked with both natural gas as well as electricity. About 6 to 8 months later, they pivoted away from this, in particular because that combination has proven to be unsuccessful among large truckers around the world for a bunch of reasons, in particular trucks getting stuck long distance from home and unable to find parts, etc., for that new platform. So as you further know, Nikola is claiming that they're building a new manufacturing plant in the Phoenix, Arizona area after careful research. And this, they further, in April of this year, delivered 2 types of trucks. One is a fully electric version of their vehicle with a European-ready structure, as in cab over, to minimize size. And they also were demonstrating their hydrogen vehicle. What we were surprised by when they did this is that the folks at Nikola entered a space where Toyota has been doing research for 20 years to deliver a solution and has been testing vehicles with clients, illustration being what you see over my shoulder. We were kind of shocked by the rapid success they were enjoying because of how careful people are in slowly developing and implementing solutions to avoid any major hiccups with clients. So currently, the folks at Nikola are supposedly building a $1 billion plant. As you also probably know, Nikola is supposed to be doing their own R&D at their facilities, and they're outsourcing pretty much every aspect of production of this truck. So for example, there's a company called Fitzgerald that's a manufacturing partner that's actually supposed to build the truck for them. And we were kind of dubious of this whole thing because, you know, when it's mission critical and you got a lot of products that are at risk, you know, big companies and customers want to see a demonstrated brand name that's been building great products for a long time. And the bottom line is that, you know, the folks at Toyota, i.e. the head of development over my shoulder, are a long-standing manufacturer with all kinds of customer relationships that drive their credibility in the marketplace for every solution they deliver. So we were kind of shocked to see Anheuser-Busch supposedly agree to do 800 trucks from Nikola when you actually have the hydrogen truck you see over my shoulder coming directly from Toyota and being tested and by a reputable manufacturer. In the case of Nikola, other than manufacturing an electric dune buggy, they really haven't ever done a vehicle of any sort. So we were very skeptical of, the potential of them being able to actually deliver a product versus being able to do a very nice show without actually the product ever getting to the market. So what we learned from our friends in Arizona are a few interesting facts. Um, Trevor Milton, the CEO uh, of Nikola, uh, moved his operations from Salt Lake City to the Phoenix area, and that's where they decided to build their billion-dollar plant, supposedly. Number one. Number two, what he articulated is, if you look at the background of Trevor Noah, he has an extensive history of collecting investor money, working on projects that fail, but he actually does well based on salaries paid to self and friends while investors get baked in the process. So when I heard this, I was like, wow, you know, when I first saw what was going on with the truck and the fact that Trevor Noah and his companies were supposedly getting things done in 120 days or so that major companies like Toyota would take 5 to 10 years to do, I was thinking to myself, wow, this is either A, miracle, or B, a fraud. And so after our conversation with our friends from Arizona, I would have to agree with the more likely a fraud plan, because when you deal with companies that have to deliver product to market, having goods out there and be unknown and whether or not it's going to be delivered on time or delivered at all, and if the performance parameters will be met, there's no way in the world that somebody in their right mind would go with an entity that wasn't sort of battle tested, a la, in this case, Toyota, but also Tesla. So I wanted to note, this kind of reminds me of an interesting encounter I had with a young lady where she pointed out to me that she, I think, was married, and her husband was constantly fearful of her cheating on him. So he kept very, very close tabs on her, and come to find out that he was actually cheating on her. And based on the fact that he was a fraud or cheating on her, he was fearful that she was doing the same thing. Hence, she went into this very rigorous surveillance mode, or he went into a vigorous surveillance mode to prevent her from cheating on him. And so I think this is somewhat apropos to this situation when it comes to looking over what's going on at Nikola, because Nikola has claimed that Tesla's a fraud, and that and he sort of listed a number of elements of why Tesla's a fraud, and that the hydrogen truck solution that Nikola was developing was far superior to Tesla's solution, in particular because of the long range capabilities. I'm going to restart our show here so that we can make sure we have some B-roll going during. So the bottom line is that the folks that still have to build a factory, once the factory is built, they have to build it out for the capability to build these trucks they're supposed to be doing. I'm actually very, very confused, and why I think that there's some fraud going on is, why wouldn't Anheuser-Busch go over the folks at Toyota with 80 years of construction of vehicles, of trucks and buses and everything in Japan, and simply contract with Toyota to ship over these hydrogen trucks and be done with it, versus go to an untested company to produce a product of unknown capability? I don't have the answer to this, but it's my belief, based on a lot of years of business, that it's a wee bit more complex to simply say you're entering a business, walk into that business, and do it well. For credible firms like a UPS and all these others, do not be surprised to see them bypass the new kid on the block, Nikola, to sign up with folks like Toyota, if in fact they're serious. Now, perhaps there's some, ties, some incredible deal that was put in place to help, and that Anheuser-Busch is somewhat in partnership to make this work between the two companies. Nikola and Anheuser-Busch. But I have to admit, I'm extremely skeptical. And now that I've learned of the failed business activities of Mr. Well, I was going to say Noah, but the CEO of Nikola, Trevor, I'd have to say that the sort of lack of success he's enjoyed and what he's been up to suggests highly that, it's highly likely that they'll have great excuses for why their truck is not being produced. And those great excuses will result in folks going to Toyota and Tesla and other great manufacturers to sort of get a solution done. I should also note it's a partnership between Kenworth, Toyota, and Shell to deliver the trucks that you see over my shoulder right now. There is kind of a conversation about, is the semi questionable coming from Tesla? The key to it is that there's an interesting phenomenon going where, if you'll notice with Tesla, there's this trend where a lot of people are using Tesla technologies. For example, in the case of the Nissan Leaf, there's a process where they develop that vehicle, and then a lot of the technology was driven off of Tesla. Tesla was delayed to market with their product on a large scale. Then all of a sudden, once Tesla arrived, they kind of blew everybody away. So it's kind of feeling like that a little bit when it comes to the semi. It's taking a while for the semi to get to market because of the development costs of both manufacturing space and the vehicles. We have been seeing a great deal of testing going on, and so we can be confident that a product exists. But we can definitely see the fact that Tesla is cash strapped because they have a number of new initiatives to deliver vehicles to the market that are going on at the same time. So I was looking forward to sort of throwing out this information. And if any of you have any new information on Nikola that I don't know about, I'd be happy to listen. As you can see here, you can see the trucks getting built for Toyota to be delivered. I think there are 10 of them right now, 5 to different entities to test out the hydrogen fuel cell, which is often referred to as the hydrogen fuel cell by Elon Musk. But nonetheless, nice to see Toyota making an effort with hydrogen. It's great to see zero emissions going to the Port of Oakland, the liaison who is behind me that you're looking at right now. And you may want to bounce over to YouTube and check out, just type in Toyota hydrogen fuel cell truck, and you'll get a chance to sort of look through the video and listen to sound, etc., on what's going on here. I particularly think that if you live in the greater Los Angeles area, which is the #1 port in the world, and you have to deal with all the emissions that come from those trucks rolling through, you'll find that the exposure to the byproduct, which is water from the hydrogen process, would be appealing. And there are a lot of big companies with high quality reputations behind it to help facilitate this vehicle being a success. So we did not show you a video of the Tesla vehicle in this case, or the Nikola. We did show you video of the Toyota, but I just wanted to maybe pub Toyota because I just think that they're a very credible firm, and if anyone could actually make this hydrogen fuel cell solution work, I believe it's folks at Toyota. And we want to see a reduction in emissions from any and every direction. And if this truck can be successful in doing that and being a big part of being a positive change for the planet, we'd really appreciate seeing it happen. So we, this obviously gave us an excuse, an opportunity to dive into trucks for our, once a month or bi-monthly period. I want to thank you all for taking time to join us in this space. Also wanted to say hello to Jim, Jerry, and other folks that have been watching us live. We, enjoy the fact that we get to broaden the lens a little bit and look at some other vehicles in terms of what's occurring. The one question mark that emerges from what's going on with Toyota is the fact that there's an interesting unknown that's developing right now. And that unknown is what's going to happen as Toyota expands its relationship with Panasonic. I did not know it, but recently learned that Panasonic and Toyota have been working together on batteries for a long time because Panasonic provides the batteries for their vehicle. As you all probably know, Panasonic just had a 50% reduction in sales, driven by a reduction in car sales in China, combined with not meeting the production goals for batteries for Tesla. And they also pointed out that there's been a decline in the purchase of Tesla of the 18650 batteries from Japan that are made for the Model X and S as people migrate over to the Model 3 from those two vehicles. So, there's some interesting developments here that will help shape the future that might be noteworthy. Any rate, I think that sort of covers what we wanted to dive in today relative to new info on trucks. We actually very much are looking forward to your comments post-show. I wanted to thank our Patreon subscribers, Patreon supporters. We also want to thank you for taking time to subscribe. We do have ads, and we'd appreciate it if you watch 10 seconds because this also helps fuel the channel. Look forward to our next opportunity for a show. I actually have a test drive at our local Tesla facility tomorrow, and wanted to see if you guys could leave any questions or comments you might have for the salespeople. One of the new developments on the Model X that you should all be aware of, X and S, is if you have an older vehicle, there's a new charging standard that's coming on that gets the vehicle charged in half the time. So I wanted to note this to you because those faster charging capabilities will come with new vehicles, but older vehicles will have to be retrofitted, I believe, with the software so they'll be capable of handling the higher charge. So that's one of the big questions we're looking forward to finding out from our local Tesla folks on when we do our test drive tomorrow. At any rate, again, wanted to thank you for joining us. Just a reminder, don't forget 25 leg lifts a day. I actually chose to wear my 5-pound weights for a few hours on each leg rather than just do the leg lifts we discussed. Also, a reminder, don't eat within 4 hours of going to bed. Minimum 2 hours, let the food digest so it doesn't end up causing acid indigestion, acid reflux, etc., and potentially cancer. At any rate, again, wanted to thank all of you for joining us. Look forward to any and all comments. And, okay, interesting. Thanks for the comment there, Thaddeus. Very good point. In terms of you get the rapid charge and then it slows down as you close out. So I definitely think that is an excellent point. At any rate, once again, thanks again for joining us. Tschüss, German au revoir, French lehitraut, Hebrew Hoda Hafez, Farsi, Ni hao ma, Chinese, Zdravstvuyte, Russian, and wanted to say thanks once again for joining us. In Jamaica, we say enough respect, walk good man. Have a great day. Bye for now.